Bro, you know things are bad when you got MSNBC calling up Ilhan Omar to be like, can you give us 9 unrestrained minutes where we humanize you? I love Ilhan Omar, but the average mainstream outlet does not necessarily hold a lot of love for Ilhan. You have to understand how bad things have gotten that MSNBC is doing 9 minutes with Ilhan Omar where they're just so chummy and they're like, hey, speak to us about how Somali people are dope, please. How do you feel about this racist attack? That's how you know shit is really f***ed up.
We're going to turn now to Washington and a cabinet meeting that lasted for more than 2 hours where news was made on a number of issues, namely that controversial missile strike. Nancy Cordes is at the White House for us. Nancy, good morning to you.
Tony, good morning. This cabinet meeting was notable because it was the first chance that reporters had to ask Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth about that controversial follow-up strike on a suspected drug boat, a strike that some lawmakers are calling a war crime.
I watched that first strike live.
Sitting directly to the president's left, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said he was no longer in the room on September 2nd when a Navy admiral ordered a...
They're having such a long and convoluted back and forth on this issue when it is obviously a war crime, whether it was Pete Hegseth that said, yes, do it, or it was anyone else. The very fact that they shot the first time was already enough of a war crime. Dual strikes or double tapping just simply makes it irredeemable and impossible to argue against. It's so stupid. Also, you might think I drank and I'm doing political commentary, except Pete Hegseth drinks all the time and then facilitates war crimes. So I'd rather be drinking and doing political commentary rather than drinking and being the Secretary of Defense, now known as the Secretary of Offense or the Secretary of War.
Strike
and Donald Trump attacking Vuvuzela.
Suspected drug boat.
A couple of hours later, I learned that that commander had made which he had the complete authority to do. And by the way, Admiral Bradley made the correct decision to ultimately sink the boat and eliminate the threat.
The first strike reportedly killed 9 people, and the second killed the final 2 who were clinging to debris. That is the part that has many in Congress outraged.
I think there's a broad consensus that it's illegal to kill people who are clinging to wreckage.
Let me be very clear. Killing shipwreck survivors is a war crime.
In the cabinet meeting, Trump stood by Hegseth.
And Pete has done an amazing job.
But he also set off Democratic alarm bells with this comment.
I want those boats taken out. And if we have to, we'll attack on land also, just like we attack on sea.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said that would require an act of Congress first.
If Trump were to order an attack on land, that would be an act of war, and Congress would invoke the War Powers Act.
The more than 2-hour cabinet meeting touched on a variety of topics, from inflation.
The word affordability is a con job.
To immigration.
We're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country.
The president stoking a new controversy with these comments about people who came to the U.S. from the African nation of Somalia.
I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country.
He's been talking about Somalis ever since a story broke last week about a fraud ring in Minnesota, which has the nation's highest concentration of Somali Americans. A U.S. official tells CBS News that ICE is now planning to surge resources to the Minneapolis-St. Paul area to crack down on individuals there with deportation orders. Gail?
All right, Nancy, thank you.
The mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, is saying that he's actually proud to have the largest Somali community in the country, and his police chief...
Well, then he's a fool.
Well, his police chief is also
I wouldn't be proud to have the largest Somalian. Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. Look, these Somalians have taken billions of dollars out of our country. They've taken billions and billions of dollars. They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother. It's a fraud. She tries to deny it now, but you can't really deny it because, you know, it just happened. And she shouldn't be allowed to be a congresswoman, and I'm sure people are looking at that. And she should be thrown the hell out of our country. And most of those people, they have destroyed Minnesota, okay? Minnesota, you have an incompetent governor. You have a crooked governor. He's crooked as hell, but he's incompetent. Walz he should be ashamed. That beautiful land, that beautiful state, it's a hellhole right now. And the Somalians should be out of here. They've destroyed our country. And all they do is complain, complain, complain. You have her. She's always talking about the Constitution provides me with, go back to your own country and figure out your Constitution. All she does is complain about this country. Without this country, she would not be in very good shape. She probably wouldn't be alive right now. So Somalia is considered by many to be the worst country on earth. I don't know. I haven't been there. I won't be there anytime soon. I hope. But what the Somali...
Bro, this anti-Somalia shit is so vile, is so racist. They need to really dial this shit back. I think it's... I don't think this is going anywhere good. I mean, it's just straightforward Islamophobic, anti-black Nazi shit. I don't know how we even do commentary around it because it's like so straight up. It is so straightforward. Like, how can we do any commentary on it? He just keeps saying Somali people are garbage. It's getting extra gross and extra scary in the United States of America. I don't like that the president is entertaining this kind of language, this kind of rhetoric, and consistently targeting a population of black African Muslim people living on U.S. soil like this. There's not really too much analysis you can do in circumstances like this because it's just like straight up racist. It's just, he just keeps saying a bunch of black Muslim people are gross, disgusting, barbaric, monster garbage people. How am I supposed to sit here and be like, oh, here's what he actually means or whatever? It's just, there's no way to talk about this other than just being like, this is the most racist, this is the most vile racist rhetoric I've ever heard from a president out and about. Or at least in my lifetime, you know? Yeah, it's also ironic because Minneapolis is one of the nicest places in the United States of America, one of the happiest places. Minneapolis is on the up and up. So how do you even entertain this shit?
People have done to Minnesota is not even believable. It's not even believable. And a lot of it starts with the governor. A lot of it starts with Barack Hussein Obama, because that's when people started coming in. And you have to have people come in that are going to love our country, cherish our country. They want to kiss our country goodnight. They talk about our country. We want them to pray for our country. This is not the people living in Minnesota. And she's a disaster. She should not be, and her friends shouldn't be allowed. Frankly, they shouldn't even be allowed to be congresspeople, okay? They shouldn't even be allowed to be congresspeople.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's a great take. Yes, people from Somali background should not be allowed to be congresspeople. Like, what are we doing? What the fuck are we doing here? Like, if you are from a different country and you came here and you got citizenship and you ran for office and you won the election, and as a part of your job, you criticize America because it's not doing well, it's not doing right by your constituents, working class people in general, then you should get the fuck out. So what's the argument? Only white people get to say America sucks dick? Is that what it is? Or are you allowed to say America sucks dick at all? Even when it does? This is my least favorite subject to cover because it's so straightforwardly bad.
the interests of our country. Anybody else?
Mr. President, you on Somali immigrants?
The automakers spent
ICE preparing to ramp up enforcement operations in Minnesota as President Trump lashes out at immigrants from Somalia, saying we don't want them in our country, and continues to attack Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar.
We're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing. You know, they came from paradise, and they said, this isn't paradise. But when they come from hell, and they complain and do nothing but bitch, we don't want them in our country.
Minnesota is home to the nation's largest Somali population. Multiple law enforcement officials tell ABC News that ICE is preparing for a surge operation in the state, focusing on St. Paul and Minneapolis as early as this week. The city's mayor says police won't help ICE when they arrive.
Targeting Somali people means that due process will be violated. Mistakes will be made. And let's be clear, it means that American citizens will be detained for no other reason than the fact that they look like they are Somali.
The mayor of St. Paul saying this.
The words that launched this American experience start with "we the people." And I believe that the sacred moments in American history are the moments we've had to decide who the we is, who gets to be included in the we. Do we mean black people? Do we mean women? Do we mean immigrants?
The president criticizing Somalis for weeks now, terminating temporary protected status for Somalis and writing, send them back to where they came from. And this morning, the Trump administration cracking down on immigration nationwide, pausing all immigration applications for people from 19 so-called countries of concern, including Somalia, Afghanistan, Venezuela, and Sudan. Immigrants with pending immigration and green card applications are now subject to review. As for those enforcement operations that are going to be taking place, we are learning in Minnesota, DHS putting out a statement saying what makes someone a target.
I'm so confused. He cries about complaining, but all he does is complain. That's literally how he got elected. Yeah, but he's white, and he's an American citizen, as in he's been an American citizen for at least 2 generations. You know, like his parents were American citizens, so it's different than someone who's a first generation. It's not, by the way. The point is that Donald Trump has had his roots in the United States of America for far shorter than the average brown person, really, including Somali people here, right? But because he's white, he gets to just chirp like this, I guess. I don't know. It's so gross, man. It's so gross.
This is not their race or ethnicity, but the fact that they are in the country illegally, saying they do not comment on potential operations, George.
Rachel Scott, thanks very much.
And joining us now for her first interview since the comments from the president is Congresswoman Ilhan Omar of Minnesota. She came to the U.S. from Somalia as a child, became an American citizen about 25 years ago. Congresswoman, thank you for being with us. The president attacked you personally yesterday, and I want to play more of what he said.
Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain.
Congresswoman, how do you respond to that?
Well, thank you, Anna, for having me. I would say the president's obsession with me and the Somali community is really unhealthy. It's creepy. And I hope that he gets the help that he needs. It sounds like he is trying to deflect from the failures that he's had as president. His immigration rates are not going in the way that he's expected. We know that the tariffs are not working to make life affordable for Americans. We know that he is afraid of what is in the Epstein files as he's fought to be the head of the pedophile protection party. And we know that right now he is being investigated for war crimes that he might have committed when he ordered what seems to be illegal attacks against boats in the Caribbean.
Your district has the largest population of Somali immigrants in the U.S., around 80,000 in the state of Minnesota. This isn't the first time the president has made derogatory comments about your community. Last week, he threatened to end temporary protected status for Somali immigrants in the state. He alleged without evidence Somali gangs are terrorizing the state. In his first term, he called the Somali resettlement in the state a disaster. Why do you think he's so focused on this community, and what impact does that kind of racist and dehumanizing language have?
He's always been a racist, a bigot, a xenophobic, and Islamophobic. We know that he called African nations a shithole in his first administration. We know that when he came down that escalator, he said he was going to stop Muslim immigration into this country. And so it is not surprising that he is going after black immigrants in this country. And it's certainly not surprising that he's choosing a black immigrant community that is also Muslim. But what I would like to say is that most of us are citizens. On our passport, it says we are nationals of this country. We love that Minnesota has welcomed us. Many of us have not been settled in Minnesota. We chose it as a home because the Minnesota people and the state is beautiful and very welcoming. And we are going to be here regardless of what the president has to say.
I agree. I love the Twin Cities. I love visiting your home state as well, Minnesota. Lots of good people there. Beautiful part of the country. Are you getting any support from Republican colleagues on this? Are you seeing anyone from the president's own party stand up and say, this kind of rhetoric isn't okay?
No, and it is not.
Oh, God, that's so sad. That's so crazy. As long as the right continues to defend things like the president calling entire immigrant groups garbage, they'll keep losing on immigration. Most Americans don't like that kind of talk or the views associated with it, irrespective of their views on immigration. Yeah. Wanye says, one of the weirder things for me about the recent immigration debate is that it revealed that liberals are absolutely dedicated and committed to third world migration to the West. It's not just something that they're okay with, should the majority of their neighbors agree, but something that they imagine is actually really important. They think we are defined by it. This is really weird. You could just not do third world immigration and the whole argument could be over. And then you could focus your efforts on whatever progressive commitments you have within the country. No, dude, it's because you're obsessed with it. That's it. You're obsessed with it, dumbass. No one else thinks about it like this. Or most normal people don't think about it like this. It's you and racist people like yourself who look to immigration from developing countries and goes, this is so damaging. This is so devastating. Like, think about it this way. I was just in a cab and the dude's from Afghanistan. He's just a regular ass dude. Ain't nothing different, you know? Do you think that it would be different if that person was from Norway? No, it's just another guy. But if your mentality automatically is, oh, no, it would be different if that Irish cab driver was actually from Norway, then you have to re-examine why you feel that way. Okay? That's it.
That's surprising because the Republicans have bent the knee to this president. They've welcomed his disgusting and deranged and dangerous rhetoric. They have propelled him into office. They have allowed for him, as a 34-time convicted felon, to become the president of this nation. And so I am not surprised, and I'm not expecting any of them to develop a backbone now and to stand up for their colleague or our Minnesota, Republican representatives to stand up for their constituents. Anna, earlier you said I represent the most Somalis in Minnesota.
Usually it seems like the American right drives a lot of the Anglophone Euro-conservative discourse, but with immigration, it really seems like they take most of their cues from European nativists. American Republicans don't really believe in these sorts of all or nothing takes. Yes, that's the other thing, like Islamo-Bolshevism, or the idea that like we're importing the third world here and we must defend the country from like Islamic migration. That's not a real thing that Americans worry about because many Americans don't even see that many Muslims in general. They don't even realize that there are Muslims around them, even if there are Muslims around them too. And most people just don't care. That is a European phenomena, the Islamogauchism, the Islamo-leftism, Islamo-socialism. That is a European phenomena. And Americans are simply LARPing when they bring this to the forefront as a major point of contention. We risk losing our national identity if we are too open to people from all around the world. Donald Trump supporters say 65% of Donald Trump supporters agree with that sentiment, as opposed to 81% of British right-wingers. It is bad for society if white people decline as a share of the population. 43% of Trump supporters agree with that sentiment, as opposed to 70% of the British right. I am uncomfortable with people speaking a foreign language in public places. 47% of Trump supporters say that they're uncomfortable with that. 66% of the British right. Society is weakened by being made up of many different races, ethnicities, and religion. This is the death blow, by the way. Society is weak because of diversity. Gets 19% support. 19% support from Trump supporters. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This is why I also say America is one of the most diverse nations on the planet, and America is one of the most woke places when it comes to immigration in developing nations, okay? It's not even close. No, this isn't because woke is back, chatters. It's not because woke is back. When it comes to immigration, the American right, woke has never left, because half of the Trump voters are Mexican. What the are we talking about? America is the most diverse nation on the planet. Okay? It's the most diverse country on the planet. That's why school shooters aren't just white boys any longer. You got black school shooters. You got female school shooters. You had like an Asian mass shooter. Do you know how rare that is? Do you know what a statistical anomaly that is? There was a Asian church shooter, man. Except there's only one place where that's not that strange. The United States of America. Okay? That's it. America is a very violent country. And also on top of that, America is a very diverse country. So even our violence becomes diverse. School shooting is bad? Yeah, wow, brave take. Well, but that's due to the guns? I know. My point is, it's obviously still about the guns, but also it's a testament to how diverse this country is, okay? That's the point I'm making.
And that actually is not a fact. Most Somalis live in the different congressional districts that are mostly represented by Republicans, including the Republican whip of the House.
The New York Times is now reporting federal immigration agents may soon be targeting Somali migrants in the Twin Cities area. What are you hearing? What do you know about these reports?
Well, over 90% of Minnesota Somalis are citizens of this country. And so we know that some people have been questioned. They have been, ICE has made attempts to abduct and detain them. But a lot of Somalis, when Trump first got elected, decided to carry a passport ID because they knew that he wasn't only coming for people who were undocumented, that he would essentially come for immigrants who were citizens of this nation. And so a lot of them are very savvy, they're resilient, they're brilliant people who have figured out how to protect themselves.
I mean, you've already touched on this, but I do want to ask you a follow-up on the character and the contributions of your community, because the president keeps villainizing your community, dismisses contribution of immigrants in this country. What do you want people to know about the Somali community in your home state?
I mean, I would like them to know that we are the most generous people. We are one of the most friendliest communities. Again, it is why we made Minnesota home, because it fits with our character. Minnesota, nice is not just something we say is something that is true. And Somalis.
Bro, you know things are bad when you got MSNBC calling up Ilhan Omar to be like, can you give us 9 unrestrained minutes where we humanize you? Okay? Remember, I love Ilhan Omar, but the average mainstream outlet does not necessarily hold a lot of love for Ilhan for her positions on American foreign policy, specifically on Israel. Okay? You have to understand how bad things have gotten that MSNBC, also known as MS Now, is doing 9 minutes with Ilhan Omar where they're just so chummy and they're like, hey, speak to us about how Somali people are dope, please. How do you feel about this racist attack? That's how you know shit is really fucked up.
So as nice as Minnesota is, we are, like I said, very resilient. We're very hardworking, and we are very patriotic. Minnesota Somalis have the highest level of people who have become citizens as immigrants in this country, and we vote, we contribute, we volunteer, and we run for office.
What's your message to the president right now in this moment?
I would say your message of bigotry is not working. Your intimidations are not going to work on the Somali community who have survived so much. And I would say that his deflection and scapegoating is also not going to work. Where Americans still remember the fact that his economic policies are still hurting them, that he has not kept his promise of keeping costs down, bringing down inflation, creating opportunities for job growth. And so that's what I have to say to the president.
Real quick before we go here, what is your reaction to the breaking news this hour that President Trump is pardoning your colleague, Congressman Henry Cuellar, who was indicted on bribery charges?
I think it is unfortunate in the ways in which the president is using his pardon. As you know, we like to think of presidential pardons as being investigated, being recommended. And we are seeing now that he's just doing favors to people that he likes in the way in which he pardoned the former president of Honduras, who was a narco trafficker, who spent many years disappearing, terrorizing his own citizens, and who our own law enforcement and taxpayers spend so many dollars in investigating to get him to be incarcerated, and his 45-year sentence is now commuted, and it's unfortunate in the way in which the president loves people who break the law.
But Congressman Cuellar hasn't been convicted. He is a member of the Democratic Party. He's not part of the president's party. Are you surprised that the president would grant him a pardon?
I am not, because to this president, he pardons anyone that is friendly to him.
You think Cuellar is friendly to him?
Know, we know that he doesn't go through a process, and I think it is unfortunate that we are not going to see the legal system play out in any kind of way for any of these people that he is pardoning.
Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being with us.
Ugh. God, American politics sucks so much ass, dude. Many people are calling him the worst politician in history. House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries tells CNN that the charges against Congressman Henry Cuellar and his wife were very thin. Oh my God, what the f? That's crazy loud. Oh yeah, Trump pardoned Henry Cuellar, who is obviously one of the worst, one of the most conservative Democrats out there. And then Hakeem Jeffries told CNN the charges against Henry Cuellar and his wife were very thin, and President Trump's pardon of the couple was the right outcome. Like, what are we doing, man? The Democrats themselves also suck so bad. Like, we don't have to. This is not how politics is supposed to be. and the Democrats shouldn't behave like this, is so whack. It's unbearable. It is unmanageable. It is unsalvageable. What do you do? What the f do you do? You could be drinking Guinness right now. I know. Relevant, scroll up. If current trend continue, whites will go from being a small minority of the world population to virtually extinct. They did a pretty good job making us Jews almost extinct. As the saying goes, it always starts with the Jews, but it doesn't stop there. Jews are white, if not peak white. I mean, he's not wrong when he says Jews are white. It is, however, weird. Jews in America, Ashkenazi Jews especially, are white, okay? But he's also responding to a person that literally talked about Jews almost being extinct. In which case, yeah, that person is right. The person whose username is I like Teslas is talking about the Holocaust, okay? Jews being white have no basis on whether or not they almost got to the verge of extinction. Like, it's not wrong. Yeah, Ashkenazi Jews, by and large, Jews in America are considered white. Like, they're in the white, they're under the categorization of white. Now, that might change. This doesn't mean they will always be considered white, and it doesn't mean that they were always considered white, right? They weren't. There was a time when they weren't. They are now. And they might not for a lot longer if, you know, the likes of Nick Fuentes basically get into power. But the point is, that's not what this guy is talking about. This guy's talking about the Holocaust. So responding to that by being like, Jews are white, actually, if not peak white, is kind of crazy. It's just a strange response to someone literally talking about, you know, Jews almost got exterminated, which is true. Anyway. Oh, yeah. Everything sucks. I think if Trump quietly did enforce against illegal immigration, left legal immigrants alone and was nice about it, he would have a 60% approval rating on immigration, you know, doing what Obama, Clinton, and Bush did. Ugh. Barry Weiss will be moderating a CBS News town hall with Erica Kirk. What the f*** are we doing, man? What are we doing? What is happening in American politics? All right, let's get to Sabrina Carpenter. So the White House posted that, and Sabrina Carpenter actually delivered one of the most unholy ratios of all time, responding to the White House using Sabrina Carpenter's music, saying, "This video is evil and disgusting. Do not ever involve me or my music to benefit your inhumane agenda." And then the White House also engaged in some sort of copium posting in reply, as a reply to this. Okay. But I'm glad she spoke out.
Well, first it was Taylor.
Yeah.
Now it's Sabrina. Sabrina Carpenter, the singer, becoming the...
First it was Taylor. I feel like we could see more initiative from Taylor Swift. Please, nobody get mad at me for saying this, but I feel like we could see more movement from Taylor on this stuff.
Latest pop superstar to get into a feud with the Trump White House. The fight began with Carpenter slamming the administration for using one of her songs in a video applauding ICE raids.
That's probably not.
I wouldn't want that.
Yeah.
The clip posted by the official White House X account, Twitter account, shows a video montage of ICE officers chasing and handcuffing people to a remix of Carpenter's song Juno. The post includes text reading "bye-bye" with a heart eyes emoji. This is so sick.
Yeah, the cruelty is really
I am
it's
sorry.
staggering.
This is so sick. The singer responded with a video, a post of her own, writing, "This video is evil and disgusting. Do not ever involve me or my music to benefit your inhumane agenda." White House spokesperson Abigail Jackson responded with a statement referencing Carter's lyrics, writing, "Here's a short and sweet message for Sabrina Carpenter. We won't apologize for deporting dangerous criminal,
come on, just,
illegal,
I'm tired of the
murderers,
lies.
rapists, and pedophiles from our country.
No. We're not going to read the lies. You know, they are getting students. And Jacob Saber, am I not supposed to say this yet?
What? Just hang on, okay?
They are, ICE is getting innocent people that are going to see their family. They are busting down like kindergartens and pulling out kindergarten teachers. Okay,
Morning Joe. More like Morning Joe Stalin. When did this happen? They're out here talking like they're on the Hasanabi broadcast. What the f? They literally hung out with Donald Trump. Remember, they kissed the ring. What a shocking. Yeah, Morning Joe, more like Maoist Joe. Yeah, good morning. It's a beautiful morning for revolution. How the f is Morning Joe saying this about the Trump immigration agenda? They literally went to Mar-a-Lago to be like, I will suck your dick, Mr. President. I love you. What the hell?
Throwing mothers to the ground. It's savage. The savagery, the cruelty. And it's something they celebrate. They love this. They think inside the White House, I mean, Donald Trump has said before he doesn't want to see mothers ripped from the arms of children. But that's exactly what they're doing.
Bro, what is happening? Liberals are talking about immigrant parents getting ripped away from their children's arms. Oh my God. Are we there? I mean, you guys didn't seem to care about this shit a while back. No disrespect. I love that you're there now. I'm glad that you're there now, but I wish you could keep up this energy. You know what I mean? Yeah, I saw this. ICE detains second grade student visiting family for Thanksgiving. A 7-year-old student and his mother were detained by immigration authorities while traveling over Thanksgiving break, according to Superintendent of Vermont's Winooski School District. I feel so much safer. I'll keep it real with you guys. These sick and twisted 7-year-olds need to be purged out of the nation-state boundary immediately. 7 years old. ICE detains a teenage student at Boston Airport, flying home to surprise family for Thanksgiving. Despite judge's orders expressly blocking deportation, agents took her to Honduras just hours later.
Agents at Boston's Logan International Airport.
It's the day before Thanksgiving. We're all supposed to be with our families, and yet she's taken away from her family this time of year. It's cruel and unconscionable behavior, and we're not going to tolerate it.
Parmelo says Lopez Beloza, a student at Babson College in Massachusetts, was planning to surprise her family for the holiday, but was picked up before she could even board her flight.
She was scanning her boarding pass, so she was told there was something wrong with the ticket. I don't believe that to be the case. Something must have happened between when she had her passport scanned in Logan Airport.
CBS Austin reached out to the Department of Homeland Security asking why Lopez Beloza was detained and later deported. We've yet to receive a response. According to a report from the Boston Globe, there's been a removal order for Lopez Beloza since 2017. Parmelo says he was blindsided by her deportation.
We have a decision from 6:08 p.m. on Friday saying she shall not be removed from Massachusetts. But more importantly, she shall not be removed from the United States of America until we get to the bottom of why she was detained in the first place.
The Massachusetts lawyer says this highlights the larger issue with the current immigration system in the country.
And we need to have better immigration policies here. You know, she's a dreamer and she's living a draconian nightmare right now. This is not what should be happening ever.
We attempted to reach out to Lopez Beloza, but we were unable to connect with her. She's still in Honduras. A family friend of hers told the Boston Globe that it's unbelievable. He couldn't believe about what he had heard about what happened to her. We're going to continue to follow up on this story as it continues.
I don't know what to say. It's just transparently evil. Also, Sabrina Carpenter got 1.4 million likes on this post, dude. Anyway. But that ratio was so fat, it seems like even Morning Joe is on board now with a pro-immigrant agenda.
Tenfold compared to the first term. So it's why he's upside down on immigration, an issue that should be his strongest, because the southern border is shut down.
Yeah, and as much as Trump has said he doesn't want that, but at the same time, he sat down with 60 Minutes a month ago and was told, it was asked about immigration and his sinking poll numbers, like, well, we have to go harder. We have to go harder with the deportation, doubling down on this. But you're right, it's trolling. It is government by trolling. The idea of putting out these slick videos that they know are going to get a reaction.
The other hot drama I miss, what is this?
Of the moment. And you know, not just Sabrina Carpenter, but a lot of Americans have said, we don't want this. This isn't what we want. We're disgusted by this. So for more writing on the idea of immigration, joining us now, opinion columnist, New York Times, David French. His latest piece is titled, "I've been doing this work for 25 years, and I've never seen such fear." David, talk to us about who you're quoting there. What do they mean?
Yeah, I was quoting a guy named Matt DiMatteo, who runs a group called the New Life Centers of Chicagoland that reaches out to immigrant communities and has been reaching out to immigrant communities since the big influx started during the Biden administration. And what he was talking about was the response to this Operation Midway Blitz that you saw headlines across the United States of this incredibly brutal crack.
The worst part is they read articles like this and they think it's awesome because they don't see immigrants as human.
Down in the city of Chicago, just with all of the scenes and all of the incidents you've seen of brutality, of tackling people, of violence directed against protesters, for example. This was happening in Chicago. And this ministry that I was talking about as part of our 2025 giving guide at the New York Times was one that reached out to migrants as they were hunkering down, as they were protecting and sheltering in their homes, and was reaching out to people to keep them under a roof, to keep them supplied with food and with clothing. And I was trying to make the point that when there is American brutality, there is also still American compassion. And it's really time to double down on the people who are showing compassion.
David, one church institution that's showing compassion is the Catholic Church. The Pope has been extraordinarily heroic and well, in doing his job. I mean, he's quoting Jesus. He's quoting the most obvious parts of the red letters, which of course leads to the question: how do so many people who grew up in our churches, who grew up as Baptists like me, across the Deep South, how are so many people turning a blind eye, not only to the savagery here, but also to a president they voted for?
I don't know, maybe because this is the purest expression of American Christianity for them, which is just being cruel to the vulnerable, being uniquely cruel. I'm not a r/atheist style guy at all. You guys know this. I respect people who want to practice their religion in their own way, whichever way that may be. But god damn it, dude. Like, American self-described Christians are some of the biggest assholes of all time, man. They would rape an entire orphanage full of children and then turn around and be like, well, you know what? God forgives me. Okay? I actually found God. And you know who actually would potentially, hypothetically, rape an orphanage full of children? Transgenders. It's like, what do you mean transgenders? You just did that. Like, what are you talking about? You can't just like point to a random hypothetical about a marginalized population potentially doing the crime that you just did. What are we doing? It's so crazy. I feel like American evangelicals they move in such a strange way, man. Even as someone who thinks like, live and let live, let people believe whatever they want to. It creates a lot of resentment for someone like me. I promise you, go on Twitter, scroll your For You page for like 8 scrolls. You're inevitably going to arrive at someone saying the most heinous shit you've ever heard about immigrants or about gay people, trans people, whatever, poor people, and how they deserve to die. Click on their profile. There is a 85% chance that person has a cross on their profile being like, American of real good Christian faith, cryptocurrency entrepreneur. Every time, brother. Every time I see someone talking about like SNAP benefits and how like black women deserve to die because they should work harder and they shouldn't be on SNAP, I click on their profile. It's a dude who in the description of their profile straight up says like, I love God, Jesus is my savior. No, the he's not. He is not your savior, bitch. You are not a Christian. You are doing devil worship. You worship the devil. You worship capital. Get the out of here anytime. Yo, self-described Christians are so annoying. Christians who are just Christian and chill about it are fine. But there is a very high likelihood if a is like writing about how aggressive they are with their Christianity, with their faith, they are probably a massive piece of shit. I have yet to see a who doesn't wear that shit on their sleeve. I've yet to see a who wears that shit on their sleeve be a nice person, bro. I'm sorry. Corinthians, Christ is King. These are the types of Twitter bios you must avoid, okay? Dudes with like Christian scripture in their bios are some of the most evil people I've ever met. They are doing a very bad job promoting Christianity, okay? Not to get all Catholic with it because I'm in Ireland, but god damn, dude. The point is you should be a better person, right? If you're a person of faith, you should be an even better person, right? You have these rigid rules of morality and what to do and what not to do. God damn. So lame. I hate it.
Twice, calling God's children. Let's make no mistake of this. Jesus was very clear. We're all God's children. And in fact, when he talks about the last being first and the first being last, well, you could probably put billionaire leaders on one side of that and Somali immigrants on the other. When he calls Somalis, quote, human garbage, that is something, again, for people who didn't grow up in the Baptist church, who didn't grow up reading the red letters, didn't grow up in the Gospels, didn't grow up like you and me, reading about this in, Sunday school and training union. I mean, the thing is, when you get into the Gospels, they're not.
When did this whole anti-Somali tirade even begin? I don't know. It's just like, it's always been a thing, but it's never been at the forefront like this. I guess it's a way for Donald Trump to shit on Muslims without like actually shitting on all Muslims, I guess, because he can't shit on all Muslims because then the Gulf leadership is going to hear that and be like, all right, bro, maybe dial it back. We're giving you like $7 quintillion for your stupid ass fail son and his real estate projects. Like, dial it back, please. So this way he can be Islamophobic and anti-black at the same time. And then when asked, he could just be like, no, I'm just talking about Somalians. Because I have noticed that, like, I mean, he shits on Muslims quite a bit, but even with Zoran, he didn't really, like, do Islamophobia as much.
So many rules, people like to talk about rules. The commandment is just time and time again, blessed are the merciful, for they shall be shown mercy.
This guy's still talking about a Christianity that unfortunately does not exist in the United States of America in modern day.
You do to the least of these among me, you do to me myself. And again, you just can't keep going back to the story of the Good Samaritan enough, where Jesus says, love your neighbor as yourself. They ask, who's my neighbor? And he picks the most despised foreigner, the Samaritan, to say, that's your neighbor, and that's who you love, and that's who will be first in the kingdom of God. So again, a very long windup to ask this question. How have these people been so programmed to forget every single thing they were taught in church, in Sunday school, in training union, on Wednesday night Bible studies? Like, how have they been so programmed that they completely put this political, I don't even know what to call it, over the teachings of Jesus Christ? Because make no mistake, read the Bible.
The Somali shit is also kind of dumb, aside from being super racist, because, like, most Americans only know like what a Somali person is from Captain Phillips. And you literally have to show them with like a PowerPoint presentation what a Somali person is, right? And the areas where there are a lot of Somali people is like Minneapolis, right? And it kind of feels like Minneapolis is pretty chill about the Somali population. They seem to be happy about it. It's not like they're voting for Republicans out of racist backlash against Somali population rising in Minneapolis. So there's just not really, like, most Americans don't even know what Somalia is. You know? Like, you need to be locked in. When Trump shits on Mexicans, at least every American knows what a Mexican is. Okay? I'm willing to bet most Americans have no clue when Trump says, oh, Somali, the Somalians, they're invading the country. And it's like, most Americans are like, what the is a Somalian? Which is not even what you're supposed to. It's Somali, not Somalian. But regardless, you know what I mean? I also do have to go back to Joe Rogan again here, because like a lot of the transgenders in sports narratives came from Joe Rogan. And I do legitimately think this Somalis in Minneapolis, Minnesota conversation came into play after Joe Rogan, that moron, on his podcast was like, yo, Tim Walz is actually changing the flag of Minnesota to the Somali flag. I still see that dumbass clip on my timeline, dude. That shit still goes viral every now and then. God, Americans have the weirdest gripes. Republicans have the weirdest gripes of all time. Oh, my state flag. They changed the beautiful state flag of Minnesota. How dare they? We are utterly dominated by the dumbest people, like hearing nonsensical bullshit from other dumb people and then confidently repeating it to audiences that are so vast and so large, also filled to the brim with even dumber people who then turn around and believe the shit that they're hearing. Ridiculous world. Ridiculous hell world we live in. Up.
Read Jesus' words. Don't go to Leviticus.
Oh my God, still talking about Jesus. I'm sorry, I can't listen to this anymore.
We have some breaking news coming in. The Department of Homeland Security has announced moments ago it is launching a brand new immigration crackdown in New Orleans now, according to a federal law enforcement official.
Where's Kaya? In West Hollywood, Los Angeles, California, chatter. I did not fly my wonderful 120-pound dog to Ireland on a 10-hour flight. Asian journalist responds to a Hassan hater and cooks her. Oh, I saw this.
Stream talking about how cool it is that a communist country has a Gucci store and failing to mention that China is an authoritarian state. The Chinese government does not.
Yeah. You can't say that we should learn from Chinese development and also have high-speed rail here. You can't say that.
Not tolerate any public criticism of the party.
Hey, did you know that the vice president of the US told companies to fire people who were criticizing a podcaster? Also, Hasan was more focused on praising China's infrastructure, their amazing high-speed rail network, for instance, which we will probably never see in my lifetime because of our government. The Chinese government, on the other hand, actually cares about its people.
And it's crazy because I talk about like the repressive nature of Chinese governance as well, and how it's just not for me, you know, and how I don't like it personally. But these guys seem to never hear that side because it has to be black and white. If you say there are certain things that the Chinese government is doing that's good that we should take lessons from, people immediately go, oh, you mean you love everything that China has ever done throughout history. I don't know, man. I like Zoran Mamdani. That doesn't mean I believe that America is doing a great job with like invading Venezuela. You know what I mean? So if you have the capacity to understand nuance in that situation, why the fuck can't you understand nuance in the other? Right? Nobody in here goes, hey, I like Zara Mamdani. Nobody in here goes, oh, you must love the move bombing, 1985 move bombing, Henry Kissinger, David Miscavige, Scientology, CIA connections, 100 plus coups in foreign nations. You must love all of that. It's like, no, I just didn't say any of that, man. Just hear my words. Did I say any of that? No. Yeah, David Miscarriage. You want the imperial court back? Tell the truth? Yeah, that's what I want.
It's coming at a time when healthcare premiums overall are rising, and people are not going to distinguish between the Affordable Care Act premiums and the general rise in premiums. They're going to look at it and they're going to say, they didn't do anything, and now I'm paying.
You talked about affordability.
Yes.
President Trump spoke a little bit about affordability in a way that I think probably alarmed some of his political advisors.
I would think so.
Listen.
Yeah.
There's this fake narrative that the Democrats talk about, affordability. They just say the word. It doesn't mean anything to anybody. They just say it. Affordability. I inherited the worst inflation in history. There was no affordability. Nobody could afford anything. The word affordability is a con job by the Democrats.
Yeah. Look, I don't know whether he wasn't paying attention during the last election, but this is exactly how Joe Biden got in trouble, by insisting that the economy was strong, that the inflation issue was under control. When people were going to the grocery store and going, paying their rent and their insurance and all of their costs, and they saw in real time what was happening, and it's still happening. We're no better off on inflation today than we were the day he walked in. And how long can you keep blaming the last guy for your problems?
Damn, you look schmammered. No, I'm not. I'm just tired. I'm so tired.
Immigration authorities are aiming to arrest up to 5,000 people, which would be hundreds more than what we've seen in Chicago.
Yeah, this is the centrist contingency. Hasan Piker, a platform terrorist, promotes political violence and does shameless propaganda for murderous authoritarian regimes. I don't know. I didn't do shit for Israel, so I don't know what the you're talking about. So why is he in such good standing with American politicians and progressive media? I don't know. Maybe because I'm not a loser like you, Jeremiah Johnson. Noah Smith. Hasan Piker is, unfortunately, a big part of the future of the Democratic Party. Islamo-leftism will be our answer to MAGA. Bitch, what do you mean our? No one in America, not even right-wingers in America, say Islamo-leftism. You skipped a step. You're LARPing like you're a German-style reactionary. Richard Hanania, who is literally a white supremacist, by the way, who has written extensively on the white race and also extensively on why it's appropriate to be a pedophile, says, disturbing. I did not know that the left-wing politicians have actually appeared on Piker's show. I thought there was a cordon sanitaire around him. Updating accordingly. What are you updating? Your Substack? What are you going to go? Talk to Derek Thompson? Next time you and him are having a conversation, you're going to tell Brianna Wu to excommunicate me from the Democratic Party? Good luck, dumbass. The fuck are you talking about? You literally have extensively written about the superiority of the white race. The fuck do you mean? Is honestly, I would go so far as to say it is way more shocking that Richard Hanania is getting any play in liberal circles than someone like myself. It's so strange. Anyway, none of this actually matters, obviously, because these guys have no emotion, but it's just crazy. What is condom sanitaire? Yeah, like a he's saying like I'm immediately putting a blacklist on someone like this. Yeah, you want to see the line today, by the way, to see me speak at the Phil Debate Society at Trinity College in Dublin? This was the line, chat. That's why I don't really stress my dumbass haters, okay? You think I give a look at this shit? Yeah. Yeah, I know this shit's not going to make it on LSF and get updates. Oh my God, my Reddit upvotes. But, you know, that's what the real world looks like, okay? So remember that. Next time, some basement dwelling, neck bearded loser who hasn't seen the daylight in months, tries to tell you, well, Hasan is a really bad guy. You shouldn't listen to him. Everybody actually hates him in my circles. Everybody actually despises him in the internet circles I congregate, where we cyber stalk trans people and try to get them to kill themselves. Yeah, dude, who do you think? Who do you think in the real world is seen as more normal? You and your autistic circle of cyber stalkers, who are, by the way, self-described. They call it A-logging. Or, I don't know, someone who's defending progressive values. Who do you think is going to be seen as a more normal individual? Okay? It's the same shit with Israel. You can find a place on the internet where, you know, all of the anti-Israel sentiment is actually anti-Semitic and very dangerous and very scary, and no one actually should give this guy any daylight, whatever. But like in the real world, most people are on Israel time. So good luck. Have fun with that. A-logging, autism logging. It's what cyber stalkers call what they do. Like autistically logging everything that people do, their targets do. Yeah. And there's a reason why the only place you can get any sort of support in your mind is botted ass Reddit circles and Nazi ass Twitter. Okay? You got too much time on your hands. You got no bitches. You got no job prospects. Your life is dog shit. Stop doing this stuff. I promise you, is hurting you more than it hurts me. Okay? Because you might think, oh, this has an impact. This has an impact. Ultimately, it doesn't. It has a far worse impact on your life and on your own personal mental health than it does on mine. Okay? In an effort to try and turn someone like myself into a lolcow, you end up not realizing that you're losing your own sense of humanity, your own sense of purpose in the world. I will never be able to obviously get across to many of these people, unfortunately, but I really do care about you, whether you believe me or not. I do. I want you to do right. I want you to be happy. I want you to have a better future. It doesn't matter if you stalk my ass. It doesn't matter if you despise me, if you think I'm like the biggest villain of all time. I promise you, you will do better if you just focus on yourself for a little bit. Just tap out of the internet, okay? Just for a little bit. That's it. Yeah, you're not getting back at the popular bully from high school by doing shit like this. You're not. The greatest way that you could possibly do that is by focusing on yourself, improving your mental health, improving your job prospects, and then completely forgetting about whoever you think is the high school bully version that you are trying to dominate on the internet. Okay? The greatest revenge is living your best life. That's it. All right, let's continue with this. Trump calls Somalis garbage as ICE plans new targeted operation.
Across a zone extending 80-plus miles northwest to the state capital. CNN's Ryan Young is in New Orleans this morning as this is about to unfold. Ryan, what are you learning and what are you hearing there?
Good morning, Katie. As you can imagine, people are terrified. They are scared about what this will mean for their life. Look, we're in one of the
Rainbow 09, thank you for the 20 tier 1 gifted subs. Thank you for supporting the Piker Broadcasting Service.
That's outside toward the tourist city center. One of the reasons why we want to show you this is the impact is already being felt. This taqueria up here decided to close its doors because not only they're scared for their workers, they're scared that for their workers as well. And you see signs like this one. Everyone is welcome here except ICE. And then you see this right here. Do not have consent to enter this business unless they have a valid judicial warrant. So you see these signs from the community already out here. We'll show you this protest that we shot the other night. People making their voices heard throughout this city. They are concerned about the actions that could take place in the next 24 hours or so. On top of that, what they also have been telling people is almost treat this like COVID. Instead of going out for your day-to-day necessities, stay inside, shelter in place. The hope here is that they feel like they might be able to sort of outlast the actions here by Border Patrol. No one knows exactly where they're going to be over the first 24 hours, and that's something that has a lot of people concerned. We even talked to the mayor-elect, someone who hasn't taken office yet, about the actions that could be taking place in this great American city.
What they're seeing on TV and reports that they're seeing is not that Border Patrol is going after the most violent criminals. You know, that's not what they're seeing. What they're seeing is what appears to be racial profiling of brown people, and then going after these individuals and treating them like they are these significantly violent offenders.
Something to mention here, the mayor-elect hasn't taken office yet. That doesn't happen until January. She's the first Hispanic mayor in the city's history. But something that other folks are talking about, especially in the crime space, is the fact that people here in this state can carry guns. You don't have to have a license to carry concealed weapons here in this state. And they're concerned if somebody jumps out with a mask, could they be responded to with someone shooting because they were in fear of their life? So there's a conversation about keeping everyone safe, not only the Border Patrol agents, but obviously the people in these neighborhoods. You look at the crime numbers year to date, the numbers are actually down in terms of total crime and murders in the city of New Orleans. They feel like they have some positive motion when it comes to cracking down on crime. They are scared that this action will actually have some communities actually not calling 911. It's something that we'll see playing out over the next few days. We'll be here on the ground to check it all out. Kate?
Yeah, positive momentum on bringing down those crime statistics is also a theme amongst the cities that we've seen.
Yeah, just like in Chicago. Immigration officers in Chicago to detain and deport violent offenders that DHS said were released from jails because of sanctuary policies. The agency said it arrested more than 4,000 people, but only about 120 of those have a criminal record. Wow. Incredible crime prevention. Thank you, sir.
These operations are already taking place. Ryan Young on the ground there for us. Thank you so much.
Breaking this morning, the Department of Homeland Security revealed it has now launched a new immigration crackdown in New Orleans. Federal authorities previously said they aim to arrest up to 5,000 people there. With us now is Tricia McLaughlin, Homeland Security Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs. Tricia, great to see you this morning. What are the contours of this operation in New Orleans? What will it look like?
John, thank you so much for having me. So Catalina Crunch, which we are launching today down in New Orleans, we're first and foremost really focusing on those worst of the worst criminals, those criminals who have previously been locked up by local authorities. But then because New Orleans functions as a sanctuary city, those individuals were not released to ICE. They were instead released back onto New Orleans streets. So we're talking about child pedophiles who are on our list of targets, burglars, gang members, rapists, those individuals.
Child pedophiles as opposed to other kinds of pedophiles. Also, what if I were to... I know the numbers don't actually match up with this reality that I'm presenting, but what if it did? What is a child pedophile? Like a minor having an age-appropriate relationship with another minor? Like, what is... What does that mean? Are there pedophiles that are not into children? Like, is she making the actually it's a phebophilia argument? Like, what the f does that mean? She said, oh, the child, we got to apprehend these child pedophiles. Guys, we're not going after adults that are pedophiles because the president is one. We're going after children that are pedophiles. Yeah. We have to arrest children for having age-appropriate relationships because someone needs to be arrested. We have to tackle the dating market for our big, beautiful president. Our big, beautiful pedophile president is having a hard time in the dating marketplace of children. So we have to arrest the children that are having age-appropriate relationships so that there isn't any children to go on these dates, so that my big, beautiful pedophile president can go on better dates and have better success with the children he's trying to. Is that what we're doing at the Department of Homeland Security? Tricia McLaughlin? What a insane thing, by the way. None of it is true. Yeah, the child pedophiles are hogging up the adult pedophilia market. They're really up the bag for adult pedophiles out here.
are highly targeting, and we will continue whether it be 5,000 arrests or beyond.
So the president yesterday spoke extensively about his feelings about security and immigration and asylum in different parts of the country. He said he does not want people from Somalia here. He called them garbage. The Wall Street Journal estimates there are some 40,000 people from Somalia, born in Somalia, living in Minnesota right now. How many of them, how many of the 40,000 people born in Somalia living in Minnesota do you consider to be garbage?
John, we're really looking at the data, the analysis here.
Yeah, John, approximately about 78 to 83% of Somalis in Minneapolis are garbage, according to our current estimates. And the remainder, that is around 17%, are actually very fine people. That's right. And we're trying to get those numbers down to the best of our ability. Our analysis has shown that, we gotta we gotta deal with the 83% garbage people that are parasitic forces that are actually both simultaneously controlling the international banking system. That's right. The Somalis are doing that, while also they're lazy and taking advantage of the welfare programs that exist. And see, they control Hollywood as well, these Somalis. And what we have to do for these Somalis is we have to deal with them, these parasitic Somalis. Because at the end of the day, John, we must secure a meaningful existence for the future of our white children. I know I added a 15th word onto that instead of using the traditional 14 word, because sometimes I like to add an extra word, to really confuse the onlookers. Okay? I mean, that's what this argument is. Like, what do you mean? There's just some of them are garbage people. Like, that's what we're doing now? At least Trump won. They would say stuff like, oh, he didn't mean it. Now they're like, yeah, he meant it. They are garbage. The f*** are we doing? Yeah, she said facts over feelings, actually. Somalis are human garbage. Wow, thank you for the facts. Kind of feels like that's your feeling, you asshole.
Particularly out of Minneapolis and other parts of the country where we're seeing Somalia, there's widespread fraud, particularly marriage fraud when it comes to immigration. We're looking at criminality here. Homeland Security has very reliable data here and analysis that we can go after these individuals and make sure that they're not a public charge on our communities, and they're also not a public threat to the American people.
My question is, all of them? The president says he doesn't want them here. He called them garbage. Do you consider that to be all of the 40,000 people born in Somalia now living in Minnesota?
John, this is not about politics. This is about public safety. We saw what just happened last week with the terrorist attack against us here in our nation's capital, where one of our great heroes, Sarah Beckstrom, was killed. That's what the precipice of this was. That's why we have to get back to base camp and make sure we are prioritizing the American people's safety. It cannot be overstated the position the Biden administration put us in when it came to vetting, letting some of these individuals under these parole programs where there was little to no vetting, no biometric data, no criminal background history, no cyber, no financial crime history. They were really relying on people to vouch for these individuals and say they should be in the country. When it comes to asylum claims as well.
The marriage fraud thing is horseshit. It's a conspiracy theory about Ilhan Omar and her family. The right keeps trying to push. I know. It's, I guess they moved on from just saying Ilhan Omar is doing it to like every Somali person is doing it now. Yeah. So Trump hates all Somalis because like 40 dudes engaged in a fraud scheme, but he commutes the sentence of a zillionaire who defrauded thousands of people. Kind of like him murdering random sailors while pardoning drug traffickers. Yeah. Commutation Trump issued to David Gentile wipes away all further fines and restitution. Gentile had been sentenced to 7 years for his role. Dude, I swear to God, he's doing a bit column A, bit column B. Where on the one hand, he's like all Somalis are doing fraud. And then the next day or the same day, he's like, actually, here's a white fraudster that I'm going to pardon. One day, he's like, Maduro is a narco trafficker. No evidence whatsoever for this, by the way. The next day, he's like, but this Honduran president who actually went to prison for literally shipping in 400 tons of cocaine to the United States of America, that guy we're pardoning. Art of the deal. He's doing Full Metal Alchemy. You know, there's a delicate balance that must be struck. If you are going to blame an entire group of people for engaging in fraud, what you must do is find one of the most high-profile white fraudsters you can and instantly pardon them, just so people really understand what you're trying to do here. You're basically trying to say, I don't give a fuck about fraud. I just want to use the fraud to cast a shade of doubt on an entire population of people that I just want to remove from the American boundaries. Yeah, I saw how some Somali people are responding. They're mocking Israel and Trump in the White House. Somalis are mocking U.S. racism by joking that Minnesota was promised to them 3,000 years ago. Except the problem here is some white guy's going to see this and lose his mind and then do a shooting or some shit. And I'm terrified of that. Booking my flight from Kenya to the motherland soon. Mall of America. Hashtag Minnesomalia. Can confirm that right-wing accounts are taking it literally. Ugh. Yeah, another classic. My enemies are incapable of making jokes. They are utterly incapable of humor. They are demonstrating utmost sincerity when they make these things that you call jokes. Yeah, oh, that's the other thing. Yeah, Minnesota has a major Somali population, except 90% of them are U.S. citizens, by the way. Like, they're not even... he's just shitting on U.S. citizens who are black and Muslim. Like, that's what this is. He just thinks that it's more appropriate to do so from the context of like, oh, they're immigrants, so they're not actually real Americans. Yeah, they can vote. They do vote. Yeah, that's the other side of the story is like, it's kind of difficult to be an undocumented migrant coming into the United States of America all the way from Somalia. So when I say 90% are American citizens, that means the remaining 10%, like the overwhelming majority of that remaining 10%, if not all of them, are also on either temporary protected status or have the proper paperwork and clearance to be on U.S. soil. Just so you understand, it's not like it's just not. It's not the same as that trek all the way from Guatemala or Mexico or whatever. He's just shitting on people who are legally here by claiming that they're illegal. I wonder why he thinks they are illegal. I wonder why so many white Americans also happen to believe that they are illegal. They're American citizens. I wonder why. I wonder why they think it's illegal. Anyway, look at this idiot. American Papa Bear. This has to be one of the most ridiculous takes I've ever heard. This is literally just flat out lies. He said that Minnesota was promised to Somalians 3,000 years ago and that the book of Genesis says that you must honor Somalians. This must be one of those 70 IQ people that we've heard about. Yeah, he's 70 IQ, not you moron, because you can't tell when someone is very clearly making a joke.
Yo, Minnesota was promised to us Somalis 3,000 years ago. And if you disagree, you're an anti-Christian bigot and you need help immediately. Also, if you read Genesis 12:3, It says that those who bless Somalis will be blessed, and those who try to harm them will bring harm upon themselves. I didn't say that. Genesis 12:3. Just saying.
Check account location, probably America. This one is so dumb that I assume this is an American. Yep, called it. Yeah, this one is too stupid to be one of those like. This one is too stupid to be an account from India. Okay, that's one of our own. I can smell a homegrown moron like this. Because the Indian accounts know exactly what this is referencing, because they're also referencing it on their alt account that is acting as though they're from Israel, okay? That's how I know. That's how I know this is a homegrown American moron, okay? And not some dude sitting in a bot farm, because the dude sitting in a bot farm knows exactly what this talking point is, because they're using it all the time to defend Israel on their pro-Israel accounts. Ugh. Anyway, that's all I got for today. We did 7 hours. I'm so tired. Hasan Reactions is one of the best ones in the React channel.